welcome to this LinkedIn Live. My name is Miriam Sundholm, and I'm going to host this live session together with Frida Nilsson Berger.
Hello, so nice to be here.
It's great, and this is our first LinkedIn Live actually, so it feels very special.
Yes.
And it also feels like a great start to have you with us, Frida, because this topic is really close to my heart, and I know that you also really care about this topic.
Oh, yes.
And we have named the theme of this live to be the blueprint of sustainable organizations. So this 30 minutes is we're going to explore what that actually means from different perspectives.
Exactly.
But before we dive deep into that very interesting theme, maybe you could do a little intro, Frida. Who are you?
For sure. My name is Frida, and I am one of the health coaches working together with you at OMLA, and also a health strategist. So I help organizations to build stronger and more sustainable health at the workplace.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm Miriam and I'm the founder of OMLA, and we are a health company focused on providing modern solutions for the workplace when it comes to health and well-being, making both people and organization to thrive. So with that said, I will share my screen and then we're all just praying that the technology is working. So there it is. And what we then are going to spend some time on exploring it is the concept of being sustainable as an organization.
Exactly. So when we started to discuss this topic, we kind of realized that basically all corporations today are talking about sustainability, right? We have heard that word for so many years now. And that's great. And we're talking about, carbon dioxide emissions, and we're measuring everything and we know all about it. But we're not really talking about sustainable people within the workforce. So this is something that we really wanted to focus on because we know that it makes a huge difference, right?
It does. And especially in this world, we think there's a need for some new concepts to talk about sustainability and also talking about the people and how we as individuals can become sustainable and thrive. And it's all connected.
It
And
really is connected. And this is what we kind of landed in, that we cannot have a sustainability work focused on climate without having sustainable people to drive this change, right? And if we focus on health and sustainable people, we will also reach higher innovation to create a more sustainable planet as well. So it's really beautiful how it goes hand in hand.
yes, and with that, we created a model. So we designed something that we wanted to share with you, just as a way of thinking about sustainability in its different dimensions. And in the core, at the center, it starts with the individual. And that individual can be part of a team that is part of some sort of organization. And that's in our society. So all different levels. And how do you, Frida, think about sustainability when you think about the individual?
Well, we're going to kind of deep dive into that soon, but it's definitely important to just mention here that we believe everything starts with the individual, actually, when it comes to reaching a sustainable health, because we're living in a world and a society that we have created that is actually very unhealthy. That's the way it is when we see the development of stress and burnout and mental illness at the workplace. So everything has to start with the individual. And from there, we can go through the dimensions and we will have a ripple effect that will be really positive. Um, but of course, the individual also needs a framework that comes from top down to be able to stay healthy.
Yeah, and I can only agree. I mean, my own experience was that when I started looking after my own health and well being, I became better at being part of a team. I'm better at running Omla since I look after um, both my physical and mental health, and I do have a longing to contribute to the society.
Yes, I love that. And we need to understand that we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves so we don't just feel hijacked by life, basically.
Yeah, because life can be very stressful, right? Sometimes it feels like we're in this always on culture. Our society is maybe putting new pressure or maybe expectations on a type of behavior that is not always sustainable. This constant consumption of content of, yeah, in all different dimensions. How is your view on that?
Yeah, I agree. It's almost like it's encouraged to stay unhealthy in a way, right? We have built this kind of society that premieres always being busy, always being stressed. You know, it's like high status to have a full calendar or being on the go. And we see that in culture and movies and from all types of places. And this has become the norm. And it's actually very damaging. We can see the development now, and it's quite scary.
Yeah, and with that said, we do move on to talking a little bit about the challenges that we have picked up from working with both individuals but also organizations on the topic of health and well-being.
Exactly. So we have kind of boiled it down to these three challenges. Of course, there are many, many more, but these are the most common ones that we have seen with our clients, like you said. Um, so we want to support employees to be able to thrive at work, right? But we have these challenges, and one of them is the increased mental health issues. And like you said, the always on culture that we call it, or like the hustle culture, um, is really damaging to our both physical and mental health. And it's creating a lot of problems at the workplace.
Yeah, I think we can all recognize that. I mean, we all experience stress. It's part of our life, and it doesn't necessarily need to be bad. It can trigger you to get things done. I think it's the imbalance of not having that time to recover that we know cause the long time negative impact. And to then be able to sustain yourself and to be sustainable as a leader, we also see there's new leadership skills that are required. Just thinking about the way we work now, it's definitely changed not only because of the pandemic, but also because of new technology that we can work remote from wherever. It has a lot of benefits. I mean, you are now in your beautiful home in the archipelago, and I sit in Stockholm, and we can have this work going and invite many people to join from wherever you are in the world. So there's a lot of new possibilities when it comes to new ways of working, but it does also require new leadership skills. And I think we haven't developed them in the same pace as technology has developed.
I really agree. It looks from my view like I am stuck on the screen, but maybe I'm not.
Not on my screen.
Okay, good. Because I'm frozen when I look. Yeah, I really agree about this type of both self-leadership, working from home, but also the leadership, in fact. And this is a huge change, that's happened all over the planet. So we need to talk about this and how to manage health in a hybrid world, definitely. And then we also have picked kind of out low engagement and productivity, because this is a huge problem and a huge cost within most organizations, due to high stress and high yeah hustle culture, or what we should call it, low health, basically. When we have low engagement and low productivity, this is actually, according to Swedish authorities, decreasing an individual's productivity at work by -9% all the time. And this estimate is really calculated on the minimum, so it's probably even more. And these numbers are actually quite frightening and connected to very high costs.
Yeah, so when it comes to leaders or thinking about the employer perspective, you do want to address this as a way of securing your business is sustainable, because most service business or most companies do rely upon us as human beings to be able to be there, to be engaged, and to perform and to be productive. So there is definitely a huge opportunity when it comes to this. And I will just continue here. Because we've also, speaking about technology, there is quite some talk about AI. And yeah, that will definitely impact our future even more. What's your view on this, Frida?
Well, first I want to talk about history, because we do stem from this culture that started during the Industrial Revolution, and we have been working in the same way ever since then. So that means that productivity is great. If you produce a lot on a short time, that is good for business, right? When we worked in like a factory, yes, that's great. But if we translate this to the typical like office worker or knowledge worker today, that may not be the best way to work. So we have been so focused on output over outcome, and we are actually being productive instead of efficient, maybe. So efficiency is more about, thinking long term, like how can I make a difference at work? What will create big change? But when we are stuck in this productivity or output over outcome, we never have the time to even think about these type of visions. And these long-term visions is where the gold is, right? This is where the innovation lies. And everyone wants high innovation today. So I call it the productivity trap. And that is what makes us, like the man in the image. That's how most people feel today. And that's very sad. At the same time, we have an immense development with AI, and ever since the digital age started, we have been able to put or kind of release a lot of our daily tasks and thoughtless tasks to the computers. So that should make us less stressed, but we're more stressed than ever. So now that AI is really, really exploding, how are we going to work alongside that, and how can we kind of hack that to find our like USP as humans, and work with ourselves, like our humanity.
Yeah, so very interesting conversations to have about this in the future. And speaking about technology, I do think we have some challenges of reaching our audience on LinkedIn that's part of this
Okay.
live stream, but we will repost it later, and let's see how it goes.
Yes.
So that can be the challenge and the stress of technology. Then we'll see. But if we talk a little bit about how you can change that and how you can actually thrive being an individual and being a human being, I know you coach a lot of people, Frida. What would you say?
Yes, starting with the individual in this model that we showed you before, that is the core of everything. So this takes a lot of self-leadership. Like we mentioned, you have to lead yourself today in this crazy society to stay healthy. So you have to like be accountable for going to bed at night and taking care of your sleep and your diet and your exercise, because society is now built around a culture that doesn't encourage you to be healthy. You know, if you just get hijacked by society, it wants you to keep scrolling, keep binge watching Netflix, you know, drink energy drinks, etc. Take the subway everywhere or so on. So you need self leadership to stay healthy. And this is, you know, crucial. So just teaching this to individuals will make a huge difference for health. We also have mental health and resilience, and this is also like a game changer, I would say. Stress is the biggest topic that we always keep talking about, but it's such a huge problem today. Um, so we need to learn how to manage our stress. And at work, we can actually mitigate stress if we just get the right tools. So this will create a huge difference. Um, when we reach that type of self leadership, we will, as individuals, be able to take conscious decisions instead of reactive decisions. Because when we are stuck in this like high alert due to stress, we are very reactive. So we don't really take conscious decisions, which creates a lot of conflicts and problems at work. So we need to get to know ourselves and become self-aware to like hack our needs. What do I need to stay healthy at work, and how will I take care of myself?
Very good, Frida. So thanks for sharing that perspective. And we also have the perspective of the teams. So what would you say there is crucial?
Yeah, so when we have sustainable individuals in the workforce who lead themselves, we will get sustainable teams, and there is so much potential here. Um, we we need to start talking more about what values we want to live by at work, because we spend basically all our awake hours at work with our colleagues. So these are like our closest relationships, and we need to work on them as a team. So when we have formed our team values and how we want to work together, we will automatically get a higher sense of fulfillment. So even if you didn't check off all your tasks on your to-do list, you will still feel fulfilled when you go home, you know, because you have a higher sense of purpose at work, and that will really increase health as well. So this is super important. And we also need, you know, we are very simple beings as humans. We think we're super complicated, but we are quite, you know, we have a monkey mind that drives us all the time. And we want to belong to the herd. It's very simple. So in a team, we need to feel understood and heard and seen and loved, basically. So as long as we get these parts in place, it can create really thriving teams. And when we feel safe and trust each other, that's when we can reach the innovation and the creativity that make us unique as humans.
So that's a really good way of understanding the value we can create as human beings in this world where AI is stepping in maybe more and more, that our humanity and our ability to co-create and innovate is really still very much needed in the world.
Exactly, because many people are scared right now that they will take over. So this is why we want to focus on the beauty of being human.
Yes. And with that, we can also see there is definitely a way to create sustainable organizations. And the way we go about it and the way we support our clients is looking at some of the processes and tools that you can have in place to foster a more collaborative and sustainable workplace. So individuals can feel that they are seen, that they understand um, how they can thrive. So some of it is leadership skills that you can provide and support your people to develop. And other things are really just looking at what are the goals, what are we trying to achieve, and how can we work towards them together. So you get the feeling of fulfillment, but also that you understand what you need to thrive. And taking actions every day, I think, is key. That health and well-being is not something that will come in the future. It's something we need to work towards a little bit every day, and that's going to make the biggest change. And
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really important on a company level to understand the impact that you have for your employees' health. So creating this structure will really only give you winnings. You will cut costs and you will increase, employer engagement, loyalty, health, and sustainability within people. That creates very strong, like long-term success, right?
yeah, because you need to have them there for the long time if you're going to have big impact.
Yeah, and we're also talking often about how Gen Z, who are like the biggest generation coming into the work place now and having very strong power, they actually demand their employer to know this, to have the KPIs for health, and to be able to answer the question on how they work with sustainable people at work and what are their values. So, the ones who will attract the strongest talent, they need to kind of do their homework to be able to do that.
Yeah, and as a starting point, if you feel a little bit stuck, I think the SDGs with number 3 and 11 are really great in providing a framework in terms of when it comes to goals related to good health and well-being, also connecting it to sustainable city and communities. So that can be something you can do pretty hands-on work, maybe in the leadership team or in your other teams, just to think about how do we align the work we do towards these overarching goals that will support our sustainable future.
Yeah, and these are the Agenda 2030 from UN, right?
Exactly.
Perfect.
Sustainable development goals. So great way to connect the people agenda to the bigger agenda.
Yeah, for sure.
And we've also have some other things, because we did say that the blueprint to sustainable organizations is what we wanted to share. So we've also collected 3 things that you can work with in your teams. And the first one being how to build resilience and self-leadership. So that's something that will set the foundation for every individual to know themselves and understand how they can manage their own time in a productive way, understanding how to manage your stress levels and how to prioritize your actions to be sustainable. The other one being the mindset and attitudes. That's so important if you want to foster a collaborative environment where people thrive and that they want to go to work or log into work, however
For sure.
you work. And the third one being looking at the behaviors, processes, and tools that you have in place to support this, because it's not the individual's own responsibility to make this work.
No,
It is a team effort, it's an organizational effort to make everyone be their best at work.
for sure.
And with that said, with 5 minutes, we just wanted to maybe say that we are so passionate about this. We hope you enjoy this live. I know from the chat that some of you were not able to join the session now, so maybe you will see it afterwards. But we just see this as a starting point. We'd really want to continue having these dialogues and learning from each other and from you out there that are doing a great job already when it comes to sustainability. How can we support each other to be thriving both at home and at work? And you can always book a consultation with Frida or myself, because we love to talk about this and we want to be part of this movement towards a more sustainable future.
Yes, we would love to come out and see how we can support you.
So with that said, thank you, Frida, so much for
Thank you.
facilitating this with me.
Favorite topic. I can talk all day about this.
Yes, so it will more to come. So make sure you follow us and connect, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You
Thank you.
too. Bye bye.